I've had so much fun with this Disney Princess framework. It was actually something I came across while I was working on my doctorate on the topic of corporate rebranding. And most of the research that I was looking at were on AT&T or GM or somewhat boring, situations about rebranding. And then I stumbled across, it actually wasn't a journal article, it was in the New York Times, an article by Peggy Orenstein, and it was Cinderella Ate My Daughter. And she
Oh,
was talking about how the Disney had rebranded the Disney Princess franchise from damsels in distress like Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, to as society was changing, they realized they needed to change. And so in the late 80s, early 90s, they finally caught up to the women's movement. And that's when they came out with Ariel and Belle and Jasmine. And so these were princesses that were much more adventurous, but they still needed a prince to kind of save the day in part of the picture. And then, of
ah,
course, we all know later, 10 or so years later, we started getting Mulan and then later Merida and Moana and all the other ones in between. And now you don't even see a prince in the picture, right? These girls are the heroine. They are the ones saving the day. And as I looked at that framework, when I started to write the memoir, I thought that's what I was doing. I was going
mm,
from kind of damsel in distress, following the fairy tale that was my mom's June Cleaver, kind of
mm-hmm.
vacuum and pearls attitude. And I thought that was the life I was, going to have. And then I realized, no, I wasn't living that life. I was more like a Mulan. And
Mm,
so I thought that would be a fun universal framework to use. And so each chapter starts out with some cultural commentary
mm-hmm.
about the Disney princesses and how they were transforming. And it was almost exactly in parallel. So was I.